Here we are once again at the end of another year in the game industry, and it's been kind of a butt year, huh? I mean, I haven't played a lot of new games because they were getting some disappointing reception from people I trust, so I've held off for some sales. But thanks to the miracle of Game Pass, blessed be the House of Gates, which graces my console with new and newish games for a mere pittance every month, I've actually somehow played at least 10 games this year, so I figured, what the hell, I'll put together a list of my favorite games that came out this year. So let's get on with it in no particular order. In case you didn't read the published article I wrote on Wonderlands' wonderful queerness, I'll sum up my thoughts on Tiny Tina's Wonderlands thusly. I was shocked to find that not only could Gearbox make a game that didn't grate on my last nerves with its writing, but also make a return to the fun, frenetic, and refined action of the first few Borderlands games. I waited for a sale, but I'm glad I picked up Wonderlands. It's a colorful, funny, ridiculous power fantasy that removes so much of the tepid characters and bloat of Borderlands 3 in favor of a stripped-down adrenaline rush of leveling up, magical powers, and gorgeous environments. If you want a solid shooter, with friends or alone, this is one of the best games you'll find this year. Ever since I forced my childhood friend Micah to watch The Evil Dead when we were both 7 at a sleepover, I realized that Evil Dead isn't a franchise for everyone. It turns out that not everyone is interested in constant demonic streams of blood, gore, and chainsaws. Sorry for the nightmares, Micah. You little bitch. Evil Dead might not be for everyone, but Evil Dead the game is definitely for me. Evil Dead the game joins the ever-growing roster of games based on classic horror series that simply refuse to just be a single-player narrative adventure. Oh well. It's just as well because Evil Dead the game quickly became a favorite asymmetrical multiplayer horror game. Having played hundreds of hours of Resistance, Dead by Daylight, Friday the 13th, and more, that's no small feat for me. But Evil Dead is a gorgeous, impressive, and ambitious title that captures the essence of the series with a heaping of fan service. Finally, you can get Mia fighting alongside Ash. Or Pablo. Don't forget about Pablo. I like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not love, like. I have no nostalgia for the 80s cartoon or the classic games that followed it. Yet I love Shredder's Revenge. This might be one of the best beat-em-ups ever made. It's lovingly crafted with satisfying combat, loads of content, and a frankly ridiculous amount of fan service. And if you're a fan of good, well-crafted pixel art, this game is an absolute menagerie of unbelievably detailed, fluid, colorful art and animations. What else do you need to know? If you're in for a good time. I can't think of a game more suited to my sensibilities than one where you play a gunslinging sexy demon shooting to heavy metal music in a journey through hell inspired by games like Doom Eternal. Metal Hellsinger is one of 2 games this year that manages to capture the same Tetris-like flow that Doom Eternal or Devil May Cry 5 capture in their most intense moments. A flow where you lose yourself to muscle memory and pure reaction. The music is wonderful, the enemies are designed well, except for annoying shield enemies, and with the exception of the repetitive boss fights, there's a lot of great variety in encounter design, art design, and environments. It's an impressive effort from a new studio, and even though it's short, it's well worth playing again. And I can't wait to see what comes next from this developer. When I heard the mania about Vampire Survivors, I brushed it off. Then I saw the game, and I completely disregarded it as yet just another pixel art roguelike flavor of the week. What a fool I was. When I finally dipped in, I told myself I'd just fiddle around for a few minutes, maybe a run or two, and then boom, 3 hours of my life were just gone. Vampire Survivors is the other game with that sick Tetris flow this year, though while Metal Hellsinger is immersive, Vampire Survivors is hypnotic. There's of course the addicting progression and just one more run mentality that all great roguelikes are built on, but Vampire Survivors may legitimately be some kind of soul-sucking ritual with how it entices, draws you in, and refuses to let go. Even now I hear the call. Maybe just one more game. 2022 was the year of kaiju in games, and it seems like nobody noticed. Kaiju Rancher, Kaichu, Gigapocalypse, and plenty more all stomped their marks in, but Dawn of the Monsters is one of the 2 games to rise to the rank of Apex Predator. A colorful comic book-inspired love letter to the tokusatsu genre, Dawn of the Monsters is satisfying, fast-paced fun, and packs in plenty of gameplay variety. It also has a neat, well-written story that any fan of kaiju media will enjoy picking through for various Easter eggs. It's a bummer this game seemed to get overlooked towards the end of the year, but I'm here to hold the torch up for this wonderful beat-em-up blast. Prodeus is Doom. That's it. It's Doom with a slightly different story and some altered enemy designs. But if you know Doom, you know Prodeus. You spend the game shooting stand-ins for imps, zombies, lost souls, machine gunners, cacodemons, and more, gathering keys and finding secrets as you move from one themed level to the next. But what makes Prodeus stand apart is the game's gorgeous art style, which blends some of the smoothest pixel art I've ever seen in a shooter with chunky retro graphics and modern lighting and texture work. It's a bizarre mashup that works best when the screen is full of bloody carnage, which is basically all the time. A late addition to the list, word to Game Pass, I went through a bit of a LEGO game phase this year. Like, I played through Pirates, LEGO Marvel Superheroes 1 and 2, the complete saga, LEGO Movie, and more. I don't know why I do these things, I just do. Point is, I'm fairly familiar with the formula at this point, and Skywalker Saga blows it all out of the water. It's a bold and sometimes strange reinvention of the most famous LEGO game series out there, offering a loving and thorough recreation of 9 films worth of storytelling. There are tons of planets to explore, characters to collect, and puzzles to solve, and quite frankly, it might be too much content in some spots. I can also see the criticisms that the game's levels are thinner and less engaging than previous LEGO games, but I think that's by design. It's a different style of game, less a children's game and more a proper collectathon open-world video game. It's going to be hard to make more in the same mold, but I look forward to how Traveler's Tales innovates on this new formula in the future. Okay, so Deathloop is technically from last year, but seeing as how this is my list and it came out on Xbox this year, here it is. Deathloop is the latest game from Arcane, so it's basically a fine video game whiskey, meant to be sipped and savored. The story follows Cole, a man stranded in a time loop on a strange island who needs to break the loop and escape. Unfortunately, he's got to kill several specific people, gather magic powers, and upgrade his weapons and abilities while evading an assassin to succeed. Video games, am I right? Deathloop on its surface sounds like a roguelike, but the end result is closer to Dishonored meets Prey Mooncrash. It's tightly paced with the best combat and level design Arcane has done since Dishonored 2. As a AAA developer specializing in a niche genre like immersive sims, I can't help but commend Arcane for swinging so hard in trying to innovate on the very design it helped bring back to popularity. Deathloop is an immersive sim through and through and is worth playing for any fans of shooters, intelligent design, or just rich, luscious art design. Aside from Dawn of the Monsters, Gigabash is the other kaiju game you've probably heard of this year. A large part of that probably being the recent Godzilla DLC, which features 4 of Toho's most famous monsters fighting alongside the game's various original creations. Gigabash is a 3D brawler taking place in a city where you control a variety of kaiju and fight. That's it. Do you need more? That was enough to sell me? I don't know about you. The art style is nicely stylized, not too detailed, but still plenty enough to convey destruction and chaos. The original monsters are fun, original, and have unique and varied gameplay styles that allow players to discover combos on their own and grow comfortable with the main, like a good, proper fighting game. It's another kaiju game made with a lot of love for the classics of the genre, and it's just fun as hell to play. Plus, it's the only way to easily play as Godzilla, so I know that's an irresistible treat for my fellow giant lizard aficionados. So there it is, my 10 favorite games this year. It might have been different, but I didn't play Kaiju Rancher, or Pokemon, or Bayonetta, or Modern Warfare 2, or Midnight Suns. I could go on for a while. Let me know down below which games from this year you loved. Did you play any of the games on my list? Any you'd recommend from last year? What are you looking forward to next year? Honestly, I will take any engagement I can get at this point. I'm so close to 1,000 subs, I can almost taste it.